up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. Well, it's that time of year again, and of course this is my my annual video that I make every year at this time of year. Tonight's July 1st at midnight, and July 1st, as many of you do know, may not know, my cousin Christopher Roy passed away in 2001 of a drunk driving accident. And every year I make a video because this is a very hard time for my family, as well as our family friends, our old friends from school and stuff like that, people that we grew up with. It's a hard time, and in Rhode Island, the 4th of July is like the biggest thing of the year. Like the 4th of July parade is like the biggest one in the whole country. Like it's just like Mardi Gras up there for us. And for my family and Christopher's close friends, it's more of a somber day that we remember him, that we kind of relive what happened ourselves that night that we got the call that Chris had passed away. And what I want to do is something this year. 19 years it's been this year. It's been almost 2 decades. Next year will be two decades, which is insane when I think about that. Chris passed away when he was 28. And if I think back to when I was 28, between 28 and 44, the differences of life and the things that I learned, I realized he hadn't even scratched the surface of his life whatsoever. But there's much of him that lives on in me. His 2 sisters, my brother, our other cousins, much of him lives on through us. And not just talking about and remembering, but things that we say and do. And this year I want to share a story with you guys that I don't even know if my family's ever heard this story. I bet you they haven't, because it was just me and him, which it was like a lot of times. It was just me and him off doing our shit, like as kids, going off doing our thing, and getting in a little bit of trouble, a little mischief, but nothing too crazy. He actually kept me out of trouble more than anything else. So we're gonna start this story time here. I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, maybe max. He was probably 10, so 9, 8, 7. I was probably about 7 years old, roughly, when this took place. And summers in Warren were great. We rode our bikes. We went, in the woods and played and shit. We climbed trees. We made tree forts. We did all the shit that kids do, and it was just a very carefree time at that point in life in general. That's the way the times were. And Christopher and I were going to go fishing at the Broken Bridge. Now, in Warren, there's this place called the Broken Bridge, which is a bridge that's broken. It is exactly what it sounds like. We named it the Broken Bridge because it's a bridge that's broken. And to get to this bridge, so this was when Chris was still living on Arlington Avenue. So I think I was probably still living in Barrington at the time. Yeah, because I was 7. So I went over there. I don't know if it was a weekend or summer. It was warm as shit, so it was probably the summer. It could have been a weekend, summer weekend too, for all I remember. And we decided we're going to go fishing at the Broken Bridge. Now, we would have to get to this Broken Bridge through kind of like these little backwoods areas and stuff. But to get to the backwoods areas, we had to cross the 2 most dangerous highways in the state. And we had to do that with no crossing, nothing like that. No lights, no crossing things, nothing. We would just look, the cars weren't coming, and just fucking run across the street. And we'd get to the, from across Arlington Avenue, which went in one direction, it curved around, and then Medicom came the other way. So once we got across one, we'd walk through the parking lot of the Portuguese Club, which was a Portuguese-American kind of club, bar thing or whatever, and then cross Medicom Avenue to Carroll Cable. And then where Carroll Cable was, there was a big fence, right? And this fence was probably, because I was a kid, I was small, so realistically, it probably wasn't any more than 10 feet, maybe. But that thing might as well have been a skyscraper to me, right? So we crossed both the roads where we got our fishing poles. He's got a tackle box in. Anybody that knows Chris or grew up with him would remember him saying the word Castmaster over and over again. We got a truck driving by over here, but we remember the Castmaster, right? It was basically one lure that he had, and the brand name was Castmaster on it. That was the best lure. Castmaster this, Castmaster that, all that stuff. What the fuck is going on out here today? It's like trucks and fire trucks, Jesus. And so we get to this fence, and he hands me his fishing pole, and he climbs over the fence. There's like a chain on it, right? And he climbs over the fence on the other side, And then we open the things like chained together with a chain and a lock. We open the gates and I shove the fishing poles through and he goes, okay, come on, climb over. And I went, I'm scared of heights. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? I'm like, ah. So I try to take the fence and like where I put the fishing poles through, I try to open it enough to like squeeze myself through it. Of course, it only opens like this much. So I'm like, I got it. Like, meanwhile, I basically have this much of my shoulder in. I'm like, I got it. And he's like, stop, just stop. He's like, you have to climb over. And I'm like, looking at it, I'm like, I'll go around. Now to go around, what that means is go like down Metacom Avenue, up Child Street, around, and like it's the most giant pain in the ass. It would take half an hour to go down and around, right? So he says, look, I don't have time for this. I'm not waiting. I'm out of here. Either climb it or go home. And he had my fishing pole. So he starts to walk away, and I'm like, son of a bitch. So here I go, and I'm scared of heights. I climb this fucking fence, right? I get to the top. I'm like, I'm stuck to the fence. I like roll myself over the top. Like he just climbed over. I'm like stuck to it like glue. And I like slowly climbed on the other side, and I'm like, holy, my heart's fucking racing. I'm freaking out because I like when you get to the top, this fence, it's like a chain link fence. It moves, it sways. It's not gonna fall apart, but like you're moving like this back and forth on top. And I just got to the bottom, and I was like, holy shit. And he just, without even like any emotion or anything, he hands me a fishing pole. He goes, here, it's a big fucking deal. Come on. And then he turned around and started walking to the broken bridge, and I went, you know, followed him like the little duckling behind him to the broken bridge, and we went fishing. And as a kid, you don't think that much about it. But as an adult, I look back, and this was Chris's whole life. His whole life was basically bringing me out of my shell, right? He knew I could do things, and I was better than I was at whatever it was, and I could do it. But I didn't have confidence in myself. So he always found a way to kind of motivate me to be better because I could do it. I knew I thought I couldn't, but I knew I could. But I didn't have that confidence until he would step up and give me that confidence. And that went through our whole lives. I mean, that was something that never changed. You know, like he would constantly be the one encouraging me. He would constantly be the one, and not in like the oh, you can do it way. It's like, you're such a fucking loser. Anybody can do that. You're a fucking loser. And like, it was his way of lighting a fire under my ass that worked every time. Like he knew what to say, he knew what to do. And although, you know, looking back, you may think it's a stupid story, but I think of it as something that I had a fear. I overcame that fear. I had that person there that knew that I just needed a little bit of encouragement in the right way, right? For me, positive reinforcement doesn't work. I need negative reinforcement. And that was Chris. He was the king of negative reinforcement to get you to understand things. And I look back and I just think of all the different times we did stuff like that. I mean, every time we got into something like, and that's not even getting into something, but it was like, he always had me around him. He always had me around him to keep an eye on me, to make sure I was okay, to take care of me. You know, like when I was in high school, he had a job raking gravel and doing construction. He got me a job doing that with him. So that's what I did with him. And then when we were like late in high school, he got a job at Belasco's making pizzas. He got me a job at Belasco's. Then I was working there with him. You know, and as I was older, he was a bouncer at a nightclub, the Keg Room. He got me a job working there with him. So it was like I was always around him. And even though we were out of high school and stuff, we were still, you know, like working together, hanging out together, going out together. Like he was probably the one consistent person in my life that was always there, no matter what, in so many circumstances. It was like, he was my family member, he was my friend, he was Christopher, you know, like he just, I mean, some people, you know, didn't like him for the way that he was, because he was just so outspoken. He was so up front and in your face. That was just his personality. He had a larger than life personality, and when he walked into a room, you knew, like, he walked in the room. You were like, who the fuck's that guy? You at the very least didn't know who he was, but most people were like, oh, that's Chris. He's, you know, he's crazy. He does this. He likes to fight. Whatever the case may be. But everybody would say the same thing. He's a sweetheart. Like when you get past that tough shell, that tough exterior, he's a sweetheart. And that was Christopher. So today we celebrate Christopher again for the 19th year of his passing. And sharing the memories, it feels good. I want people to know the real him. You know, I mean, everybody that sees this that knew him is going to be like, oh yeah, that's absolutely, I mean, that's 100%, that's the best way to describe him. But 19 years and counting, Chris, we miss you, man. It's been a long 19 years. I'm glad you're not here now to see the shit that's going on with this pandemic and racial. I mean, you would not be handling this very well at all. And anybody that knows him would know that's true. So I'm glad you're not here to see this, but I miss you, and I wish, I had 5 minutes to talk to you again face to face. Say thank you. Thank you for caring about me. Thank you for watching out for me. Thank you for trying to create, some stability in my life when sometimes there wasn't. Thank you for trying to bring the best out of me in every circumstance. Thank you for making me who I am today. Shit, we ran out of room on the stupid camera. We were wrapping this up anyways, but that was just a good way to end it. I probably shouldn't even started the camera again, but anyways. Thank you guys for watching. Christopher Michael Roy, we never forget you. We always miss you. We talk about you, we tell stories. We get sad, we cry. We hope that one day soon we'll all be together and laughing about this up there as you watch down on us, and miss you a lot, man.